All right, welcome back, Facebook. So let me give you the update. See, I came to you about an hour ago or so with my dilemma of not finding any dried black-eyed peas. So I resorted into using some canned black-eyed peas by the company 360 Degrees by Whole Foods, no salt added. And as you know, I had my water boiling. I put in a variety of seasonings and spices into the water, just in hopes to turning the black-eyed peas into a familiar substance to eat. Well, I told you I was going to taste the water. So when I went off camera to get ready for this new video, the jalapeno vegan cornbread, I tried the water. It was totally disgusting. I put in so many seasonings just because I was in such distraught over not having a dry black-eyed peas. So I poured out all that water and I started over. And this time I just basically I had some vegetable broth. So I put some vegetable broth in there, put some paprika, some soy seasoning, some white pepper, some black pepper, some garlic and onion salt, and some, of course, my Himalayan sea salt. So I put that in there, and I said paprika, I believe, and then I let that simmer and boil, and I tasted that water, so it tastes much better. So the product so far is tasting good. I'll show you that final reveal before the 12 o'clock hour of the black-eyed peas from the can. So if you're wondering if you can use canned black-eyed peas, yes, you can use them with a lot of seasonings and a lot of prayer. All right, so what I'm bringing to you now, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. And, of course, I'm not going to make you wait the 25-30 minutes for the bread to get done. I'm just going to show you the ingredients, and then I'll show you the finished product. So I've composed myself. I'm not crying anymore over that ordeal. And so I'm going to bring to you some vegan bread. First thing I want you to do, and I normally do this, but I'm going to show you my product. So I am using the Red Hill non-GMO organic cornmeal. And I'm going to use a cup of that, and I'm going to put my dry ingredients together, and I'm going to put my wet ingredients together, okay? So I'm going to put a couple of that into a mixing bowl. Then I'm going to use about a third of a cup to a half of a cup of raw organic sugar, and I'll show you that also. Non-GMO sugar. You can pick that up at Whole Foods. And I am going to use the King Arthur white whole wheat flour in here. So these are all my dry ingredients, and I'm putting that in there. I'm going to use the what is this? A teaspoon of baking powder. I am using about 2 teaspoons or 3 teaspoons of the Himalayan sea salt, and I'm put that in there, and then about a teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm gonna put all of those in there, and then I'm going to mix those together. All right, so I'm mixing all my dry ingredients together, and I'm going to make sure that I do an evenly mix. So I'm using a whisk to make sure that they are whisked and mixed together quite evenly. All right, so there's the salt and all of the powders and sodas and stuff is all mixed in there quite well into my dry ingredients. All right. To get that fine mix, and I'll let you see how that looks. So it looks pretty evenly mixed, and I'm just going to place this up here on that platform. I'm working in a very small production kitchen here. So now I told you it's going to be vegan, and so normally a cornbread mix or jalapeno bread. And one sidebar I have to let you know, I gave away all of my organic corn because I will put some kernels of corn in here, but I'm not going to do it today, so we're just going to stick with the cornmeal, but we're still going to be great. All right. I gave that to my sister, and I just didn't feel moved to go get it. I am now going to, in another bowl, mix in my wet ingredients. So since I'm doing this vegan, I'm not going to use egg. But what I am going to use, and I'll show you this product, it's kind of expensive, is an egg replacer. So what you do is, depending on how many eggs you want, you measure out. So I wanted to use just one whole egg. And so that's how the powder looks. And with that one whole egg, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons bottled water of water into my egg replacement, just to give it that consistency. So what I'm going to do is first add in 1 teaspoon, and I'm mix it. I'm sorry, 1 tablespoon. Then I'm going to mix that up. And I'll show you that progress. And then I'll add in the other one. And you'll see how it becomes more lucid and more liquidized. Right now it's more like a putty, clayish, like almost reminds you of like a flour. Like you're adding water to a flour. So I'm going to add another tablespoon into there. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix that up, and then you'll see that product, and that product would then go into, of course, my wet ingredients. So you see that I gotta get those clumps and lumps out of there. I'm gonna mix that up to get those clumps and lumps out, break it up so that I can be evenly distributed within my wet ingredients. This is not a very long recipe, but of course I did do a lot of prepping beforehand because I don't want you online with me that long, especially if you're doing your final preparations to bring in the year 2021. So I am again just going through and making sure I have all the lumps out. Oh, I almost dropped it. I would have to start all over again. Getting all those lumps as much as possible out of this mixture here. Yes, again, this is an egg replacement. It is not an egg. We are not using any dairy in this recipe. So feel free, if you are vegan or thinking about being a vegan, or you're vegetarian and you're just thinking about cleaning out your system for the upcoming year. I know in my household, because the kids have been consuming a lot of meat, I know we're going to start off our year with vegetables. So we're going to go hard with the vegetables. It's going to be veggie this, veggie that. And if I get a little time, maybe I'll bring you some of those recipes that I'll be putting together. But I need to clean their system out. They've been out of school for 2 weeks, and they've been enjoying it. They were able to watch TV. I didn't mandate that they do any practicing or anything. I just allowed them to release and enjoy their 2 weeks of freedom. And with that, they were able to consume things that traditionally or normally they wouldn't be consumed. They even had some ribs. They had like 2 bones of ribs, and you know, oh, that's a stretch, but they didn't do that with me. All right, so I'll show you how this looks. And so this is the product here that we're going to be using for our egg replacement. And yeah, that's how it comes out. But, you know, don't worry about that. We're just going to go ahead and use it as the Spirit lets us. Now, one of the other things that I came in, one of the things that I had to encounter, I came in contact with that I needed, and I thought I had it, but I didn't, and I was going to use a coconut oil substitute, but I think my sister got my coconut oil or whatever. I couldn't find my coconut oil, so I had purchased this because, you know, I have an air fryer, and I have not, and it's non-GMO also. I have not used my air fryer, so I had to, because I needed a 1/3 cup of canola oil. I just been spraying in the canola oil in here and letting it settle to kind of give that 1/3 cup that I needed. So that's going to settle down some more. I spray some more, then I eventually at some point in time have a 1/3 cup of the canola oil that I needed. One day I am going to use my air fryer. I have not as of this point, but I at least have the spray needed for the usage. All right, so now it's time for me to add in my wet ingredients. I'm going to add in my plant-based milk, which is a dairy-free, and that's by Ripple. and it calls for 1 1/4 cup, and I'll show you that. It's plain original, doesn't have flavor to it or vanilla or anything to it. So this is what I'm using. I like this because it has a thick consistency of a whole milk, but it's non-dairy, which I like. I was going to use my almond milk, but I have the vanilla almond milk, and as you know, I do the turmeric in the almond milk, which I made up a batch of that in my very famous apple cider. So I have that in my refrigerator, and so when I'm going to kick back and relax, I just heat that up and I have that. So I'm saving that almond milk for there. So that is 1 1/4 cup of the plant-based milk. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my egg substitute, which is called the egg. That's the top to my oil replacement. I'm going to go ahead and add that into this mixture. So again, I constitute that to about 1 whole egg. So it's 1 whole egg without the egg in this vegan recipe. Don't let that discourage you, because it's going to turn out great. Trust and believe me when I say so. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and start mixing those two items together, as you see, and then it starts to change the color, give it a little more like a little almond color look. Kind of reminds you of vanilla almond milk if you are used to using the almond milk. We use that all the time in my home. Alright, so now the canola oil has condensed down to there, and I'm going to go ahead and add that into my wet ingredients. And that's pretty much enough for oil that I need. And I'm going to mix all of that together. Again, this is a very quick, fast cornbread recipe. However, I am not using the corn kernels. Maybe if I do this again, I'll then use my corn kernels, because I didn't this time. And then I'm going to add in my, what I call vegan butter. You can buy it as Earth Balance. So I'm going to add some of that in to that mixture. So forever canola oil that actually didn't come out, then, you know, that'll take the place. Now, Nadanya Muslim, you guys know her from Tetris, her beauty supply company, and she actually opened a storefront on Illinois. Big shout out. We worked together for many years in Detroit together. She said, I don't like, she asked about putting sour cream in it. No, I haven't. And I probably could make some vegan sour cream. I just have not attempted to do so at this point. But I'm not putting any sour cream in there. I am using my vegan butter and the canola oil, non-GMO items into this mixture so that it won't be dry. I'm with you. I don't like the dry cornbread either. And I don't want the jiffy GMO cornbread either. So here we are. We are mixing this up, and we are almost done. It is almost ready to mix with my dry ingredients, and then for my dry ingredients, putting it into my pan and into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Within that 25 minutes, you are going to use a toothpick or something to poke it to see, to make sure that there's no wet consistency there. And then if you are at the golden level or result that you want, you can go ahead and pull it out. And at that time, I'm probably going to give you a sneak peek of how the black eyed peas look today. But in the plating, the presentation of it, I'm going to present the bread and the black eyed peas right before that 12 o'clock hour. And I am going to indulge in that. Keep my feet up, maybe turn on the television, put me a movie on, and enjoy. Alright, so I mixed those items. So now I am going to take, remember, my dry ingredients, and I'm going to start to work in my wet ingredients into here. Now I just want to mix it up. Again, my focus is to make sure that it's evenly distributed in here, and I'm going to add some more. Alright, I'll add a little more in there. I want to make sure that I am getting the dry and the wet ingredients mixed in. Now, if it's not a consistency that you want in your cornbread, you don't think it's wet enough, And I said, you're going to add just a little tad more of the non-dairy milk product. If you're using your almond milk or if you're using the Ripple as I am. I mean, it's up to you. You know, there are some rules to baking, but if you choose to be inventive, then you go ahead. It's up to you. You're going to eat it, right? So it's you. So I'm going to add in the rest of this my wet ingredients into here, and I'm going to continue to mix this up. Yeah, this is first. We're going into the new year. I am excited about the new things that are going to resolve itself. I'm thinking this year, because, you know, as I stated before, I try to go somewhere every single month. Either I have to take me a time out and go by myself, or I take the kids, and we're just exploring the world. We pretty much exhausted the U.S. I am going to be taking them, you know, to different places. People are telling me, like, why are you taking the kids to Amsterdam? That's not a city for kids. Well, guess what? There's a lot of history in Amsterdam. It's one of the places that we are flying into outside of Africa. It was not time, you know, I just didn't have enough time to get the kids their shots, and then my shots, and then do the COVID test, and then go through all that stuff to get them over to Africa. But we will be getting to Africa pretty soon. That's another place that's open to us. There are some flights going to Rome. I see that we are being allowed limited to parts of Rome, so I'm going to take them over there, the historical places. But in Amsterdam, there is an area in Amsterdam outside of Anne Frank's, where you're going to see where there was Black Holocaust, and so that's very historical, and I do want the kids to engage in that deep-rooted part of history. I also want to, hopefully in 2021, get the kids over to Russia. So it would be Germany and Russia, and we're going to just trace the lines of the Black Holocaust. It's something that is not really discussed amongst a wild group of people or a group of people, and I just want them to see how resilient and strong and how rich we are as a people. All right, so this is how we're looking. So remember, this is a whole vegan jalapeno. So I bought 2 jalapenos, but I'm only going to use 1 in this recipe. And I just cut this up, and I'm going to add the jalapenos into this dish. That's just one nice, fluffy, thick jalapeno. And I'm going to add that to this recipe. So I'm trying to distribute those around as much as possible. So when you cut the bread, at least you will have some jalapeno in your bread. I did buy 2, but I'm not really feeling led at this point to use both of those. Maybe I'll be making some salsa, and I'll use that other jalapeno, because I'm being very cautious about what I buy and how much I can consume, because I did store it for the winter, just in case, you know, I wasn't going to be able to get out of the house. So I do have my dry goods. I have everything I need to make some hearty meals, and a lot of frozen fruits and vegetables, you know, to make sure we still stay balanced in our eating if that occurs. All right, so as you see, everything is all mixed in there, and so the final preparation is to now pour this into my pan, and then from my pan into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Now, I'm looking for my spatula. I found a spatula. So I have already pre-greased down. I'm dropping seasonings. My pan for this to be poured into, and we will be done and eating very shortly. I want to go ahead and finish up some of the other things. Like finish up doing some laundry. I need to iron some clothes and finish straightening up around the house before that 12 o'clock hour approaches or is here, and get all that stuff done and over with. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pour that into my pre-greased pan, and I make sure that's evenly distributed throughout there, and this is going to be fabulous. I did make a version of this before, and it was with Darius Cooks. I used his recipe. I think I may have just changed it just a little bit of his recipe, and that time I don't remember. I think I have it on one of my cooking videos. You can go back on my page and look for that. I think I may have actually used some corn in it. If not, I'll do one soon with the corn and the kernel corn in it. But yeah, then I do have a video. I don't know if I actually posted that of my son making some vegan corn muffins. I think it was corn muffins, but yeah, he made his own little vegan dish of bread there. All right, so I'm going to now go ahead and just get this evenly spread in the pan, and I'm going to show you that before I pop it into the oven. And then about 25-30 minutes, we'll have some vegan jalapeno bread. Hey, Natasha, what's up, girl? I thought I was coming down there for inauguration, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be in that foolishness with the Trump people and their supporters. But I will catch you when I'm in D.C. area. Again, if you guys missed me before, hey, Takara, I see what you're doing, big things. Chrissy, yes, your girl, your daughter is a beast. I'm going to have her do some work for me. I just got to afford her because her talent is surpassing everybody else. The girl is bad. She's been bad since birth. But when I traveled this year in 2021, because you guys know I'm all over the world, literally, I'm going to start doing a video, a documentation, because one thing that inspired me to want to travel was my auntie. She was a principal in the Detroit public school system, and she would go everywhere, and she would bring back these tapes, and I would watch all these videos, and I'd be like, I want to do that. I want to be her. I want to do that. And so as a child growing up and experiencing, being exposed to those things, then I think me having the ability and capability of traveling all over the world, especially when the world opens up slowly, and start documenting that and showing people that is like my goal, my mission, my purpose is to show that this little person from Detroit that came up through the ranks, you know, her parents divorced, and so raised by a single parent, hard times, suffered through, went to a HBCU, was forced to woo, and was able to come from humble beginnings and be able to do what I'm doing now. And I thank God for that. So I will be broadcasting and showing you as I go from state to state or from country to country. And you know, if you've ever been anywhere with me or you know me, I take risks. So I'll give you that. And then I'll probably do a video of 2020, just the places that we're going and things that we've seen. I am going to try to get back to Alaska probably in the March area to actually see the Northern Lights. Okay, so I'm popping this in the oven on 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. And when that's done, I'm going to bring that out, cut that, and then I'm going to show you how my black eyed peas from the can turned out. So thank you guys for sharing this time of 2020 as we go into the final hours approaching 2021 with me. I love you guys. Be safe in everything that you do. If no one else says that to you, I love you. I'll see you in a bit. Thank you.